So we'll start today's lecture. Maybe others will join in due course. So I think the online participants can hear me, right? Achi, Madhu, Shani, Adurwani, Amarasingha, Kamlasi, and Sadhuvan. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so I would like to welcome all of you again, right? And we have one physical participant. That's perfectly fine. And because we are going to discuss today the remainder of the SPSS based sessions. And I could see that you are using your computer. That's very good. And also, I think the online participants also could use their computers. And I'm using my own computer as well. I'm also connected today. So what we'll be doing is today we'll be discussing again and to see how to do data analysis using what SPSS, right? Right. Did you go through the material? Did you do it? Correct. You did it, no? Okay. So I think it's not difficult. So to check the validity, reliability, then the descriptive analysis and the correlation analysis. That's what we did, right? Again, since you might have not had practiced on that day, I introduced that. Let me give again a brief introduction of what we did, and you'll be able to see that again. Okay, I first explained that usually that there will be 5 chapters where in the thesis, university report. So introduction, literature review, methodology, data presentation, analysis, as well as then conclusion. So that's what we have. So these are the 5 chapters. And then I will give you a sample thesis cover. So even a sample thesis was given to you. So this thesis was there. Factors influencing the customer purchase intention of premium version of the jukebox triple music. We are discussing about the RA music, premium, and I told you that the 2 objectives of this chapter. So just giving a refresher. Oh, not just giving a refresher. So the main objective of this study was to assess the level of purchase intention of this premium version of the music, as well as to see the impact of different factors on the purchase intention. That was what we discussed. Right? And I hope that you installed SPSS and you practiced it, right? Hopefully. And so that's what we did. And then these were the objectives of the study. And then I told you that we have this diagram you can see on the screen, which is team screen. You have how many independent variables? 6 independent variables are there. 1 dependent variable is there. The 6 independent variables are the functional value, social value, likewise the 6 ones. Then there's the purchase intention, the dependent variable. So the 2 objectives of this study is what? To see number 1, to see the level of purchase intention. Right? How much people would prefer to buy this, the intention. Right? Then the second one is to look at the impact of these variables on the purchase intention. Right? What's the impact? That's what we are trying to see. Okay, so that's what we were trying to see indeed. And here you could see then, based on that we first, but then we of course we developed the hypothesis. What's the hypothesis by the way? What's the hypothesis? A testable assumption. It's an assumption that you are trying to test. It's a testable assumption. You can see the functional value. Now there are 6 independent variables. For each independent variable, you can write what? A hypothesis. What are the hypotheses you can write? You can see here the functional value of the music premium map has an association with the purchase intention. If you really want to can say there's a positive impact or positive association as well. But I prefer to keep it not positive or negative. You can say has an association. The method of association that means a relation. The second one, the social value of the music premium map, likewise we went on, has an association, positive association with the purchase intention of the premium version of the music. Likewise, we had this. So Then I gave you the layout of chapter number 4, which I'm going to today extend the layout as well. So here you can see that first you will be introducing any chapter except chapter number 1, because chapter number 1 is what? Introduction. So you don't need to have a separate introduction to the introduction. Then you will have background of the study, isn't it? Background and background of the study. And then under the diagnostic test, you will have the reliability validity test. Right. So that day I explained to you how to do that. Today, again I'm going to demonstrate that test. Please come. I don't know. Why I like you to boycott the I think try it. Okay, okay. Please look up. Right. Okay, that's very good. So it's enlightened. Only now the so we have the reliability and validity, and then discrepancies, t-test, correlation, regression. Likewise, you will do these things. Today I'm going to redemonstrate it, so you can do it. If you have the laptop, you can do it again, and you have installed SPSS. I think you have installed SPSS, and particularly the online participants, I hope. Once in a while, I'll ask you to share the screen. In the yes or no, I'm going to do that. So don't worry at all. No one needs to share their screens. Okay. And I'm not going to come, and if you wish, you can ask me any question. So, first thing what I told was to check the reliability. Can you remember? How did we check the reliability? What's the test that we? What about it? I think it's only politician in Sri Lanka. I forgot everything. What's the test that you do to check the reliability? From webs, right? From webs. Now, what were we checking in fact? Now, if you go to the questionnaire, let me open the questionnaire again. You should go to the study questionnaire. So let me open the study questionnaire. So this is the questionnaire. So you can see that there are different types of questions. So section A has gender, age, marital status. Those are called what variables? Demographic variable. Now, do you check reliability for demographic variable? Demographic variables are the maybe check never. You don't check. Right? Reliability for demographic variable. Now, for example, gender, you are not going to check reliability because it has only 2 states. Right? And for age, it's a continuous variable. You don't check reliability for that. Marital status, not at all, because it's only one question. And higher secondary education, likewise, there are different questions. You don't check reliability for these. But to check the reliability for section 2. Section 2 is where you have B, where you have the 6 independent variables and the dependent variable. Now, what's the difference between the gender variable and these independent variables? The gender variable like a variable. Opinion leadership කියන්නේ අපි measure කරන්න කොහොමද? කොහොමද measure කරන්නේ? That's through Likert scale. And is it? You can see opinion leadership is a demographic variable. Economic so don't worry, I'm not taking anything yet, and I'm explaining to you. So if you have got your laptop, you can take it out and say, no worry. And what about the explaining is for demographic variables like gender, you don't do reliability. You do reliability what? Scale question. Likert scale question. What are not about the art? You check reliability analysis for Likert scale question. Not for any other type of question. Now here, opinion leadership is a Likert scale question. Right. So how many questions do you have? 6 questions under opinion leadership. All asking the same thing. With that they understood why you are asking the same thing in 6 different ways. Why? In case if question 1 is not understood, you have another 5 questions to rely on. නැත්නම් මේ හයක් කහනවා එකට. එකක් හරි යාළුවෝ එකක් විතරයි අහුවේ. ඒක හරියට තේරුම් ගත්තේ නැත්නම් the respondent did not understand it. Right? You have to the variable is known. So that's why for the same variable you are it different thing. But all are asking the same thing. So to be reliable, it has to be consistent. So for that, we check the reliable. So if you want, you can download this. It's in the LMS, right? What you can download it. You can go to the LMS and go to your LMS indeed, and you can see here. But go to the bottom of the page. The bottom of the page, you have all this questionnaire. Then premium database, and also the slides for that I'm using, and also good tables, and also the Excel version of the data. Then we understood how to import the data from Excel to SPS, right? We did that. Did you practice that? Oh, some students have practiced, other students did not have time. Am I correct? The thing is, these people tested that exam and he asked, and today I'll show you an exam paper and I will show you the past paper on that methodology. Then you'll be inspired, isn't it? By the other give up Mr. Carl, ambulance table class ticket of the No one needs to be afraid, and you can understand. Rest assured, what I teach is what I show. What I teach is what I do. So therefore, don't worry. So I'll show you a past paper, and you can see how these are tested, even the quantitative data. And how about your research proposals? Now, what's the deadline? Next week. So I don't think we'll be getting any extensions. So maybe next week might be right. I think we can get another 1 week. I have requested that. In that case, we'll make that week the deadline. But so far, the deadline is not the 25th. When is the final proposal submission? 25th March. You can be right. So, other visible. So 2 days from now, we have to submit your proposal. No, don't worry. I will because I have requested another 1 week to finish off these matters. Because today I'm going to cover. Because in fact, I have finished to use the digital business strategy. Because syllabus other what I'm going to do is after this, in that session, I'm going to elaborate the pathway. It will take only about 1 hour, but I need to cover a lot of research methodology stuff, particularly the data analysis stuff that you can understand what you are trying to do in your proposals. And hopefully, I will. So we'll make it next week. Probably the deadline, right? So I requested more time, but I think we'll be getting up to 31st or 30th. 13th and after that. So maybe 13th I will extend, right, your proposal submission. We'll see whether someone has mistakenly submitted without the topic. As a ජීවිතේ වැරදි වෙනව නෙමෙයි. ඔබ ජීවිතේ වෙන අපි අදේශේ උන්ට ඇක්සිඩන්ට් එක. දැන් කේක් එක වෙලා තියෙනවා. කේක් කුමරිය. What has happened to Princess Kate? Fancy එකක්. ළඟදී පොඩි පිටිය දුන්නේ. ළඟදී කියන්නේ මාස් කීපෙක දුවලා. බස් එක නවත්තලා තිබුණා ළඟ. ළඟ මාස් ළඟ ඒකට පොඩ්ඩක් එකක්. ඒ පාරේදී වාහනයක දාගෙන යනවා. ඒ වගේ විවිධ අනතුරු වෙනවා. We face different accidents. Now, my case is accidentally someone has submitted the proposal. Accidentally. You know what? I'm very happy. Because if not, I would have got a shock. Just joking. Right. So I hope you are doing it properly, right? And if you do have any questions, today is the day that you can ask me, and next week also you can ask me. Okay, I'll give one day more. So it was at the 31st dinner. So 31st I will be giving feedback. March 31st, of course. Yeah, March 31st. 31st is March minimum. Yeah. So 31st March will be your deadline in that case, right? So I make the deadline now itself, next day. Happy? Thank you very much. You gave us the New Year present today. Or how do we make it back to them? Okay, let's now itself make it there plus more. So now right. So let's make it 31st. Right, we had. Okay, so the deadline I extended because SAB agreed to allow us to do the session till 30th year. Let's see, it might be sometimes online as well. We'll see. Okay. So deadline extended for the final proposal. Okay, so let's come back. Right. Now for each variable to measure, I was telling you that we have sub questions. Now if you go to the data set, please go to the data set of the, so you can see there are 6 questions on opinion leadership. Again, I ask it because it's so important. I'm again and again emphasizing the fact. But you have 6 questions on the same question, same variable, become variable, I am taking it down, right? I don't know what's that. In case if a question was not understood, you have another 5 questions to rely on. Because these are perceptions, liquor. Now, gender, you ask only one question, right? What's your gender? Can there be an error in responding what's your gender? Man. Either male or female. Or either you don't want to disclose it. That's a different story. So, male, female. But here you are asking a perception. Whether opinion leadership influences your voices behavior, the music premium. So that's why you are asking the same question in 6 different ways, because in case if one question was not understood properly, there are another 6 questions you can use to create your pair. Right. So that's why we ask. So the first thing first, we try to check the reliability of this question. How did we check the reliability? Using front backs alpha. Using front backs alpha, we check that. How we check that? So please open this data set, and I'll show you again how to do that again today as well. How did you do? You go now, let's remind me, I can remember. How did I check the reliability? How did you do? You go to analyze. Scale. Yes, very good. Scale. And you go to reliability. Analyze. Scale. Reliability. If you want, you can do it with me. And if you face difficulties, please let me know. I'll come to you and I'll help. If you have computers, you can check that and you can do it. If you don't have computers, you can join a person in the cell and go. So how did we do the reliability analysis? You went to analyze, scale, reliability. Analyze, scale, reliable. Are you with me? Everyone okay? You can download the dataset from the website if you have not already done. Then reliability, and you went to. Then now you need to take the 6 questions on OL. The mega data on OL the OL is not pizza. So to check that, what we do, we right click on one variable and say what? Display variable names. Then it says OL1 or OL2, whatever it says. That's a pane name. That's a pane label like a pane. Not the label is being used. So to check that, what we did, we selected display the variable, right? And then I took all related questions, 6 questions. And then what did I do? I pressed OK. And you can see the reliability is how much? The complex alpha value is how much? 0.79. I told you if this value is above 0.7, is it good or bad? Perfect. So what's the conclusion? These 6 questions are consistent in measuring what? Opinion. So that's our conclusion. Then now tell me how to check the reliability of these 6 questions. So not 6 questions, just we have 7 questions. A functional. How again will you be checking that? How do you check that? Same way. You go to analyze, scale, reliability, and here you are going to check. You are going to take now those 7 questions. What's the reliability of those 7 questions? What's the reliability? 0.872 is 0.872 above 0.7. Those 7 questions are also reliable. So can you check and tell me the reliability of the next set of questions? EV, emotional level. There are in fact only 3 questions. Can you tell me, are they reliable? EV questions 3. Very good. I'm getting the answer from the students here. So you go to scale, reliability. Now instead of these 7, you are putting it back. Oh, yes, it's how much? 0.73. Did you get that? 0.73. So we get 0.73. 0.73 above 0.7? Indeed, yeah. It's above 0.7. In that case, we can conclude this scale is also reliable on emotional value. Then shall we check the next one? TV. TV stands for conditional value. How many questions are there? There are 4 questions. How to check the reliability? Very simple. You go to again analyze. You go to K and reliability. Instead of these 4, you are going to put them back, and you are going to take the C. How many questions are there? 4 questions are. Oh. Is it reliable? Yes, it's 0.863, which is above 0.7. It's also reliable. So you can see all the scales are reliable. Then let's see the other one. EPV. EPV stands for what? Epistemic value. That's another kind of value. So how many questions are there? Sub-questions are there? How many sub-questions are there? 4. 4 sub-questions. EPV 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? EPV 1, 2, 3, 4. How to check the reliability? Very simple. You go to analyze again. A. Reliability. Here you can see EPV 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. You will say, okay. How much is that? 0.869. Is it reliable? Indeed, yes. Unreliable. Why? We are expecting about 0.7. So these 4 sub-questions are also reliable, consistent. They are asking the same thing. Then we have to ask the social value. The social value, right? How many sub-questions are there? 4 sub-questions, sir. 4 sub-questions, sir. How to check the reliability? Same thing. You are going to analyze. You are going to go to scale, reliability analysis. 4 sub-questions. SD1, SD4. Social value. Now what's there? Is it reliable? Yes, indeed. It's 0.805, which again shows the reliability of this scale. Social value scale. Then finally, now we have checked all 6 independent variables. Then now we have what? The dependent variable. Again, it's on Likert scale. If it is a Likert scale, you have to check what? The reliability. Can you check that? Let's see T. And go over here. And you can see TI1, TI4. Okay, there are 4 sub-questions. You can go to analyze, scale, reliability. You are going to take this back, and then you are going to say the purchase intent with the dependent variable. Okay. Say okay. The 4 questions reliability is for how much? 0.801. Is 0.801 above 0.7? Yes, indeed. So we also conclude that scale is also done. Then what we do is we usually represent that in a table, which I showed you last time. Okay. This table is given. You don't put all these pieces output in your thesis or in your dissertation or whatever that you're going to write. You have to put that in this table. 0.795, 0.872. Likewise, we have your reliability scales. So overall, you will say based on this that your scales are reliable. And even I have you how to write your reliability section. So I want to write this. And do you have a research to be done? No. You are very unfortunate. It's not worth to do a research. Even it's right. You show how to write it. The wording was also you. So it's only we shall have it prepared. Okay. Right. Then the validity. Validity. I don't need to check the validity, particularly the construct validity. Whether it comes under one construct. What's the analysis that I told you to do? Hello. Yes, very good. Others are. What's the analysis? People at the back. Construct validity one another analysis. This is a very question on can already 2 students gave me the answer. Online cutting for the
data analysis, sir.
Excellent. Indeed, very good. To check the construct validity, to see if whether it comes under one construct, you did a factor. So we understood. Let me again go to that. I'm reminding you what we did. Right? Here we have OL1 to OL6. There are 6 sub-questions. But how many factors are there? Now here there are 6 sub-questions. 6 sub-questions are there. We call it 6 elements are there. But how many factors should be there? 1. So if one factor comes out, we call it what? The construct validity is there. This. If one factor is there, you would call that is what? A factor. The construct validity is there. So how did we do a factor? I cannot remember. How did we do? We went to what? Analyze. Then what? Dimension reduction. Why is dimension reduction? 6 comes down to 1. That's why we call it dimension reduction. Act not elements, dimension reduction here. Can you see even the icon here? Can you see the icon? Here there are 3 elements and 1 factor has been this. Factor. So you can go to the icon here, right? Factor. And again, let's to see what are the variable names, because then you can right click on any variable and say display variable names, and we'll have OL1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you put that over. It was over. After you put these 6 here, to perform factor analysis, what we do is, yes, you go to descriptives and you click on what? KMO Bartlett test for PSC. The sample adequacy. KMO stands for what? Phasor main Oakley measure. Continue. Extraction. You see whether the method is principal component. Yes, indeed it is. And then go to rotation and choose what? Verimax rotation. And you press continue. And you go to options. And you say sort by size as well as suppress small coefficients less than 0.40. So we did all these things last time. If you're not sure, you can go and check the video as well. Continue. And you press OK. So you can see under the component matrix how many factors have come. How many factors have come? 1 factor. Can you see? Under the component matrix, only 1 factor. Suppose it came to 2 factors, then something is wrong. Right? Something is wrong. Here it's only 1 factor. So you can see 1 factor is there. So that's why you don't have a rotated component matrix as well, because nothing to rotate. You have only 1 factor. So it says nothing to rotate. So you do these to all factors. Right? All questions. So here also you can see on the top it says KMO values. Here the KMO value is how much? 0.817. That shows whether the sample is adequate. So here there is 400 sample. Now we told that if this 0.817 is close to 1, is it good or bad? It's good. Is 0.817 closer to 1 or not? Yes. It is. So we can call it the sample is N. And also it loaded to 1 factor, that's also acceptable. So your conclusion is what? There's construct validity. There's construct validity for this variable. Now tell me how would you check the construct validity? Construct validity of the next variable. That's FP1 to FP6. Okay, so there are 7 sub-questions. How to check the validity, construct validity? Yes, keyword factor, very good. Analyze, dimension reduction, is what? Okay. Then you are now going to take off linear division, and now you are going to take FP1. You took the 7 questions on functional value, and the other options have been already selected because you used it earlier, and you are press OK. What's the Colombo value? The Colombo value is 0.643. Very good, but again, reason not below 0.4. And again, all these 6 questions come as 1. Is that good? Yes. Yes. And why this value has not come out here? For if we serve the value of 10 on the floor. Why it has not come there? Because of a reason. The reason is that the value is below 0.4. Option don't show things below 0.4. Shall we remove that option and do this again and see what happens? So you don't need to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go again to analyze. I'm going to go to dimension reduction and go to factor. And I'm going to go to options. And I'm going to say suppress small permissions. I'm going to remove them. Let's continue. And I'm now going to press OK. Now let's see what happens. Now the value came. But the value is 0.35, 0.353, which is not a good value. This value should be at least above 0.5. This is not a good value. But again, it has not been loaded as a different factor. Two different factor, therefore they are also. Suppose there are 2 components, component 1 and component 2, then they are stored. But again, so likewise we did the factor analysis for the 7 variables, 6 independent variables and 7 the 7th part of the independent variable. So I told you how to summarize that database as well. Can you remember? Yeah. Reporting validity is the construct validity to report what the Colombo values 0.817, 0.643, 0.684. Likewise, all the validities are reported. All the validities are reported. And also, we can report in the appendix of your thesis if you have the right one someday. The component metrics you can include that in the appendix. So that's what I have suggested to put that into an appendix. So it's above 0.6, that's good. It is above 0.7, that's good. That would have been much better, but again. Then after you check the validity and reliability, you can go for creating the variables. How did you create the variables? Now here, again, if you go to the data set, now OL has 6 sub-questions. How did you create the variable? Can you remember? How did you create the variable? How the variable is created? What was the function that we used? What was the variable we used? And use group functions. Very good. My code. I'll take you, don't worry. Now you have 6 sub-questions. Now you have to make them one variable. What did we do? We use the compute variable function. Compute variable function. So how did we use? We went to transform. We went to compute variable. Transform, compute variable. Is it? Transform, compute variable. We get to that particular function. And then we gave the new target variable the new variable name. We can say opinion leadership. And we can say since we are going to take the average of that variable and create that variable accordingly, we can say ABG always put an underscore, right? OL, opinion leadership, underscore, ADG. So, these are your going to create the variable. Because we are now 6 sub questions and you are now going to take the average of them. How to get the average? Yes, you are going to take the mean function of it. You go to all and you are going to say mean. The mean is there. And then you are tell for which variables are you calculate mean. What are the variables that you are going to use? You are going to use OL1 to OL6. So you are going to right click on this and say display all the variable names. So OL1 is there. So you type here, it says question mark, what are the variables? You say OL1. Then comma OL2. Then OL3. Then OL4. Then OL5. And OL6. And see, OL1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All comma separated by comma. And we will see both factors. Right? I will come over here. OL1 to OL6. Some people have come and some people have. Right, come, no worries. You can do this. This video is recorded, so you can check that. So OL1 to OL6. And then you have to press OK. Yeah, already I have a variable created in that name. So I'll say OL average 1. I'll put a 1 over here as well. Because already that variable I created and it's there. So I'm going to press OK. Maybe a P1. The variable name, either name more than 60 over not defined by previous term. I think it's over here. Well, fine. There we make sure it's not a dot, right? The comma here. L is negative. OL5. It should be OL6. Should be having OL6. Earlier it was L6. I should go. Correct. So now a new variable should have been created. You can see it. So this is the average of those 5 questions or 6 questions in this case. So likewise, you are asked to create all 7 variables. So that's OL. Okay. Then if you are now asked to create, for example, the next one, FP question, FP average variable. How to do that? Same thing. So I'll go to again transform, compute variable. You can say now it's got OL, you can say FP. FP, let's say average 1. You are going to take the mean of those 7 variables. FP1, FP2, FP3, FP4, FP5, FP6, and FP7. So what I tell is take the mean of these 7 questions. That's okay. Okay, new variable came. FP. So likewise, use the compute variable function and create the 6 variables. If you don't want to use this one, you can use what? In Excel, you can create this and import. That's also enough. Excel again create karna, import karna will be. It's an easy way to do. Right, but I could not do both things. Now you have created your variables. Now the next thing what we are to do is what? Calculate what? The descriptive statistics. First I told you to, now if the variable is categorical variables, I told you what? Categorical variable you have to go the current. What analysis I could perform? Like gender, age, categories, right? Then in that case what? What analysis? Very good. Frequency analysis. If it is a categorical variable, perform a frequency analysis. Now look at the variables that are there. Gender is there, age is there, marital status is there, like a given variables are there. What are categorical variables? What are categorical variables? Gender is a categorical variable, but two categories are. Age, is it a categorical variable? No. It's a continuous. So marital status, indeed it's a categorical variable. Several categories are there. Education level, then income level, occupation level, then whether people listen to music online, and the platform, what kind of platform they use, how old category. How to perform a frequency analysis? How to perform a frequency analysis? You go to what? Quickly quick. Analyze. Frequency statistics. And frequency. Analyze distribution statistics. Frequency. Simple as that. Then now choose gender, marital status, then highest academic qualification, then monthly gross income. Monthly gross income, is it a categorical variable? You can check that. Yes, it is a categorical variable. The occupation, yes, it's a category. How do you listen to music? That's a category variable. What platform you use? It's a category variable. All these are category variables except age. And the other questions are Likert type questions. So how to check the categorical percentages? You press OK by B. You can see here for all variables you get gender, marital status, education level. Did you get it? How about your? What I want. Oh, okay. Let's get right, good. So very nice. Now you can see here. You can see here male, female is given the frequencies, the numbers as well as percentage is given. And also you can see for the marital status. So by looking at this analysis, please tell me what gender has the highest proportion in among these employees? Part of the relative proportion at the are males or females having the highest proportion? Females are that, isn't it? Females 70.1%. Female representation is there. Then how about marital status? Who are the highest? Now here you can see in Lanka status, there's a difference between percent and valid percent columns. What's the difference? Percent and valid percent of what? Percent missing values. Missing values is the difference. So because of that, we are concentrating on what column? Percent column or the valid percent column? Always the valid percent column. Because they are not given answers. Now here you can see 3 people in marital status, they are not given response. It's 0.8%. But on the other hand, so there are 375, and here they are taken 372 has given responses that equated to 100, and you can see without any issue the valid percent is taken. There you can see the highest is single. Next, married with children, and likewise the other marital status are here. Right. Now tell me, in terms of highest education qualification, what's the education category that has the highest? What category has the highest number of people? Part of the very good answer. Bachelor's degree. Lowest? No formal education. One. Right. In terms of monthly gross income, what category has the highest? What category has the highest? 20,000 to 40,000. These are in dollars. 40,000, 20,000 to 40,000 is 42.9%. Lowest, more than $100,000. Then in terms of occupation, who is the highest? In terms of occupation, who is the highest? Professionals, managers, executives, and business. So this music premium map should target them. Next, other white collar employees. What's the difference between white collar employee and blue collar employee? White collar employees are who? Professionals, executives. Then blue collar employees, laborers. So we have white collar crimes and blue collar crimes. In Sri Lanka, in Bitcoin, are those blue collar crime or white collar crime? White collar crimes, indeed. People who know the things do the things. And work our good accountants, right? Some of them, not all, are supporting them. So that's what's the bad thing. These people are very educated people who are supporting fraud. They get the advice from these guys. No one can catch. Right. Then how usually you listen to the music? Live, air, online, or downloaded offline music. These guys are listening how? Live, air. So that's promising because they are, so the music premium app could do that, isn't it? Online. Then platform. What's the most popular platform to listen to music? What's the most popular platform? Will us an online participant, isn't it? Without online participant. Ms. Arashi, tell us. Are there? What's the most popular platform? Ms. J. Sutta, can you tell us? What's the most popular platform? No one is answering online. That indicates what? They're enjoying their time. I don't know. So that's why coming to the lectures physically, at least will give you the chance to focus. If you're at home, what happens? You get out of focus very easy. Lot of distractions, isn't it? So that's why at least coming to the lectures physically would be good. Ray, would you like to answer the question? Okay, which platform? All the I don't think what is that? Maybe they are having their lunch. So, right. Yes. What's the platform? YouTube. YouTube is the most popular platform. So who is our competitor in that case? For our music premium app, who is the competitor? YouTube, which gives free music. Then the next one is what? Oh, one is the next one. And after that, Facebook. So you can see for the users of this premium app, this is what I said. So we understood that as well, how to perform a frequency analysis. And even I told you how to report that results. Male female percentages, then marital status, highest academic education, monthly gross income, likewise it's there. Then the next thing what you have to do is you have to provide descriptive statistics for the continuous variables as well as Likert type questions, Likert type variables. Now here, what's your continuous variable that you have? What's your continuous variable? 8 variables. All others were categorical variables. So that's why we need a frequency analysis. Now you have the 8 variable. For the 8 variable, you perform a descriptive analysis. Can you remind me how did we get this table? How did we get this table? First of all, you have to go to the data set. Then afterwards, what you have to do? Align. Very good. Then descriptive statistics, then descriptive. Very nice. So then you have the 8 variable over here. Age of the customers. And you compress over. You get the same way. Right way, same way. You can see here. Minimum 18, maximum 82, mean 37.43, and standard deviation 13.19. 30. And also, let me remind you some statistics that you might have learned earlier. I think I can use it over here. Also, I think you can remember you studied these statistics. Now I will remind you. There's something called the schemeness. What schemeness? Now you expect a nice bell-shaped curve. You expect a nice bell-shaped curve, but sometimes the distribution might be skewed. It might go to this way or that. So you can see here, if the distribution goes this way, we call it negative skew. I'm responsible for that. Very good, thank you. So you can see negative skewness is here. This is negative skew because it has gone this way. It has gone this way. You expect a nice bell-shaped curve, but it might not be always the case. And sometimes it might be positively skewed going this way. Now tell me, draw a histogram in SPSS and tell me whether it's positively skewed or negatively skewed. I'm going to give you about 2 or 3 minutes to draw a histogram. Work as a group. You don't need to individually work. You can discuss. Why not you come to a conclusion as doing the thing and get together and do it. Everyone can do it. Do it as a group. You can get together, you can read option and tell me, draw a histogram and show histogram. Histogram. Take 5 minutes. Histogram. How to draw that? I'll show you. How to draw histogram? Draw histogram and show us histogram. Very good. Only some people have found it out. Others also you can see how to draw histogram. How to draw histogram? Let me show you. You go to SPSS. Go to graph. Legacy dialog, screen 1. So write down the steps you can read. You forget it. Then in that stage, I'm going to take down graph, legacy dialogs, histogram. The variable is age. Put the age variable under variable. And press out this. So my computer is a bit slow, so please make sure. So is it negatively skewed or positively skewed? Negative or positive? Look at the screen and tell me. Positively skewed because it has gone this way. Positive skewed. You can see this is the diagram I was showing. So it has gone this way. Is positively skewed. Right. So we discussed this as well. And let me teach you another thing as well. Kurtosis. Kurtosis means how peaked. Now you usually expect a nice bell-shaped curve like this. Can see this is a bell-shaped curve. Let me use. Okay. So you would expect the bell-shaped curve for a. But sometimes the data might be peaked. Or the data might be plateau. So if it is peaked like this, we call it positive skew. If it is plateaued, right, we call it negative curve. So by looking at the histogram, is there a positive kurtosis or a negative curve? Negative one, isn't it? Because why? In the middle, it's flat. Middle. So slight negative kurtosis is visible. How to know that? Exactly. This is how you know. Again, go to analyze. Go to descriptive statistics. Go to descriptive. Analyze. Descriptive statistics. Descriptive. Then now age variable is already being selected. Now go to options. And then you can see here kurtosis and skewness is there. Go to options. Go to options and select kurtosis and skewness. Kurtosis and skewness you can select. Press continue and press OK. Now you can see skewness, yes, you are correct. There is a slight positive skewness. It's 0.632 something. So it's a positive skewness there. And kurtosis, you can see there is a slight negative kurtosis, minus 0.069. Very, very slight negative kurtosis. So that's how you would calculate skewness and kurtosis. Now, can someone tell me by looking at this data, what's the range of this data? What's the range? How do you compute the range? Check the internet and tell me how do you compute the range? Range is calculated how? How do you compute the range? How do you compute the range? Range is the difference between what? Tell me by calculation. Range is the difference between what? Highest and the lowest end, the maximum and the minimum value. So here the maximum value is 82, the minimum value is 18. What's the difference? 64, right? Oh, 54. 62. 64. 64 is the range. Of course, they have not ordered. Okay.
And whereas that you know, because we are coming here from event, normally I am coming to start for the event, but this time also we are going to have a real situation. Not one other message of I have to it, they were not paper. They usually have to have 28, but however, the ground is not available is 28. Therefore, that it was stricter to the 27 Saturday. That they are even get money in the meeting. They are organizing. That is the president and also the president of the organizing committee. And I know that you are enjoying the whole debate in various things also, and given the support from your left, and we give the support for them. And this time, and ticket is 500. Last time 600, this time 500. Expect a large number of students from the event. Over the day that we can please observe the day and enjoy students, other two colleagues. Another thing, I have already sent that timetable to you, and 26, 27 exam, 28, but now we have to change it. There's option. One option is that we can conduct the exam in 27 with the TV. What I tell you, we accept the exam. Or otherwise, that May 1st. May 1st. I prefer the May 1st in the morning. Before that, we can leave the from the color. Yeah, after what I'm going to take for the match. But the message, I think better solution is the paper. And in India, please support them and also participation. Yeah, I'm not asking to for the organizing committee. But like asked all the team, I know that do it well and gave a very good professionalism among the colleagues. So this time also I am expecting the same thing, and also intelligence now. Online. Pavani, can you hear me? Pavani? Pavani? Pavani. Then you can. But online, you know, but physically next. That's all the issue. That's the issue. Yes. Anything or so another you know it. I so again, thank you very much. No support. No problem. Here, please support this. You are opinion of the experience guys, so that direct can. And I will share the name with the power that is achieving for the selection. And exam date is confirmed from your side. You are physical. Maybe this is the negative opinion. Yesterday also one gentleman called I think last day. In 1 second. Oh, this is I don't know he's here. I did not play. Maybe point have raised that because of Sunday lectures is there. You can understand which professional exam have failed correct. Academic I think student minimum failed. They student not here. So I bet you up in the fullest commitment there. Remember first case, they have that, you know, program the process they have a product. You know, it's a complete career. I don't know, postpone that market register. Here is how I program extension on the bank. I'm going to run down the other program. When we professional exam, take a exam program. The other way in class is exam. It may have a student. Without a director, not the program. It's a receiving something. We'll make a part-time program. I'm going to part-time. But you don't advantage that you have half of the professional education you have achieved for them. It changes it. But only one of you guys. You bet. Other one are very friendly and okay. And everything else. Should give me a number. Young never can give me away. When you get the part. Back to the break, work at the break, some put that in the hand, would you again? Then we send a bunch. Right? Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All the best for you. We'll all be fun. Thank you, sir. So that's about courtesy and skills. Yes. Now, there might be in a distribution. In a distribution, there might be skilled people, isn't it? Courtesy outliers like so that's very normal. But again, like to understand that cooperate and like means you try to get the best out of it. Right. So, the power is not your project, you know. Power is okay. So, and then you also need to understand what is interquartile range. The range is the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value, isn't it? In this case, it's 82 and 18, isn't it? Now, what's the interquartile range? Now, you can see here in this diagram displayed on the screen, you can see the minimum value is 1, the maximum value is 9.
So those are the two ends. The mid value is 6. That's called what? The median. Once you put the data in ascending or descending order, the mid value is called the median. The median is 9. It got 6. That's called Q2. Part. It's like this. If I share the screen here for the benefit of all. So I'm going to share the screen here now. This screen. Right. So let's take a data set like this. You have to take. Right. I think the people online could see this. Right? Here you put the minimum value and you take the maximum value. You put in the ascending or descending order. In this case, it's the ascending order. So the exact midpoint is what? The median. This is the median. We say Q2 for that. Part 2. So because this is the 50th percent. Exactly. Then we can break this again at the middle. What's that? 26%. %. 25%. So this is called what? Yes, you are correct. Q1. Right. Then you also can make these are 76%. That's called what? Q3. Q3. Then we can now calculate something called what? IQR. Interquartile rate. IQR, interquartile rate. Now, range is the difference between maximum and minimum. IQR is Q3 minus Q1. Right. Now, having done that, let me go to the example. Now look at this example. What's the interquartile range? Q3 is 8. Q1 is 3. So what's the IQR? So that's called IQR. IQR is the interquartile range, the difference between Q3 and Q1. So at the exam, you might be given these outputs and asked to interpret them. After this, we'll have a small break and then I'll show you the exam pass fail. So we discussed these things as well. Descriptive statistics we understood. Then also you can see here for each Likert scale variables for functional value, emotional value, and purchase intention. The minimum, maximum, the mean value cycle. So you can see it's also given without anything. Then after that, I discussed that way. The correlation analysis. The association between two variables. This is called the conceptual diagram. Putting the independent variables and the dependent variable and showing this in the diagram is called a conceptual diagram. What are independent and what are dependent? Now, in your research proposal also, you need to indicate this conceptual diagram if applicable. Usually, if it is a quantitative research, you need to have a conceptual diagram unless it's a exploratory study. So that day we discussed correlation. What does correlation show? Correlation show the relationship between two. Now here, how many independent variables are there? 6 independent variables are there and 1 dependent variable are there. Right? So how to do the correlation analysis? Very simple, I will show you that. But you have to first understand this as well. What do you mean by the significance and confidence levels? That we also explained again. Let me explain. Let me have the pleasure to explain that again to you as well. Confidence level. Now, Mr. Kalidasan was telling, but on 1st of May, you are going to have probably an exam. Right? Let's say this is the exam hall. And now I'm standing here. While you are entering the exam hall. And I'm asking each student, how confident are you that you will get an A plus? So I'll ask simply, how confident are you I will pass this exam? The student enters and tells, and I'm asking that question, he says, sir, 100%. I get an A plus. I'm so confident. I came to all lectures, online and offline. I listened to all lecture recordings. I went through the past papers as well, and I'm fully confident. I'm fully confident. Then another student enters after that man. This person, the first question I ask is, I was a student of SAA. I have never seen them online for club. How that? Second. Then one set enter. Now what's your confidence there? First of all, are you a SAB student? Yes, sir. I'm one of them. 16D the exemption batch. Of course, sir. I am one question. Never seen you. This is a very rare minority. Visible minority, sir. Okay, visible. Here I put a name for it as visible minority. Not to be seen too much. Now ask, how confident are you? I'm 50% confidence I will pass this stuff. So same thing here. In statistics also, you will have confidence. So usually, you require more than 95% confidence to say that there's a real systematic relationship. More than 95%. Better to have more than 95% confidence. 0.95. 99% more better. So that's the thing that we say based on the confidence level. We can express the same thing using the significance levels. Now, if confidence level is 90%, the remainder is 10% significant. Right? If the confidence level is 95%, the remainder is how much? If the confidence level is 99%, the remainder is how much? 1%. So you could either express things in as a confidence level, or you could express it as what? You could express as what? Significance. In SPSS, what's indicated? Significance levels. SPS is equal to significance level. Now I'm going to ask you a small question. Do you like higher confidence or lower confidence? Higher confidence. Right? Who says 100%? I would prefer that. Who says 50%? In terms of significance, do you like more than 5% significance or less than 5% significance? More or less? Less, fine. If you are going to say less than 5%, that means what to mean? You have more than 95% confidence. Less than 5% means you have more than 95% confidence. So therefore, keep in mind, in SPSS, what's indicated is significant levels. So you have to see whether the significant level is less than 5%. Then only you will comment on what? Whether the relationship is what? Significant or not. So we discussed that. So how to perform a regression correlation analysis? Before we do go to regression, we will discuss that. How to perform regression analysis? Now you have your purchase intention dependent variable. Now I have created already the independent and dependent variables. You can see here. OL So here, so your independent and dependent variables are there. How to perform correlation analysis? How to perform correlation analysis? Very simple, right? You go to analyze. Then what? Correlate. Then what? By pair. Then you are going to put your all independent variables. It's already here. Your independent variables are there. They have been created already. So first put your independent variables. Now these are your independent variables, linear leadership. Functional value. Emotional value. Conditional value. Epistemic value. Social value. And then put at the end the dependent variable. What's that? Purchase integrity. You can put it anywhere, but it's easy once you put this. Then you press OK. Now look at the last row. Look at the last row. Now here it shows the purchase intention and opinion leadership. It's 0.287. And you can see also, is it significant? All are significant. All are less than even 1%. Yes, it's 0.003. That means it's high significant. High significant. Less than even 5%, less than even 1% significant. That's extremely good. So how can you now interpret this 0.287? There's a weak positive correlation between opinion leadership and purchasing. Right? There's a weak. Why it's weak? Because it's 0.287. We know the correlation coefficient can range from -1 to +1. -1 means perfectly negative correlation. +1 means perfectly positive correlation. So here it's only 0.8287, which is quite low. It's a weak positive correlation. Between what? Opinion leadership and purchasing. By looking at the permissions, all are significant. I am very happy to see that. What has the highest impact? What has the highest relationship with purchasing intent? Which has the highest value? It's EPV, epistemic value. No. Yes, okay, epistemic value. Then after conditional value. Conditional value, like value. So these are the people who have the variables which has the highest correlation. So that's how you are going to interpret the correlation. So that day I also told you after this we'll get a break, right? So that day I told you, if the correlation is between 0 to 0.2, it's weak or no correlation. Then 0.2 to 0.4, it's weak correlation, either positive or negative. So here in that case, it was 0.28. What's that? A weak correlation. But on the other hand, 0.4 to 0.6, that's moderate. So the EPD and what was the other one? The CV, conditional value, had a moderate positive correlation with what? Purchasing intention. Then 0.6 to 0.8 strong and 0.8 to 1, it's very strong. So that's how we interpreted the results from the correlation. Okay, I think that's enough for today, right? But now, not today. Now, we will discuss, and after this, I will be discussing the regression act. And I just reminded you what we discussed that day, because we went a bit rather fast, and I just reminded you. Do you have any questions? Is it clear? Then after this, I'll take a fast paper and show you how these are being tested. Particularly after the regression analysis. And after this, discuss about the regression analysis. And probably in the evening, we'll discuss the t-test and one way now. And after that, the paper on digital business strategy and we are safe to go home. So let's have a small break and come back. So it's now around 1:40. Shall we meet at 2? Please have a quick tea and coffee with
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Buddha?
Sir, this is Senarata. Sir,
Yes, Leonard. How are you doing?
good, sir, good.
Excellent, Buddha. Yes, you can speak.
So this is not related to this semester. Actually, I wanted to ask you when if you are planning to do the special degree,
Yes, Buddha.
sir, will it be possible to? I mean, you are the lecturer for this same subject, sir. I mean, in the next semester.
Related to research methodology.
Yes, sir.
I think so. I think so.
All right,
Probably,
sir.
probably yes.
Yeah,
Because
sir.
yes, yes.
So is it possible, sir, I mean, to conduct that research? I mean, if we do the special semester, is it possible to conduct the research thesis when we are doing, I mean, overseas countries?
I don't think there would be an issue. Because Buddha, like, it all depends on, but I'm not sure. We have to ask Kariyasam, the logistic, but again, Buddha, I don't think there would be an issue. Because if
Okay.
the supervisor and the student is going to be in touch online, right?
Yeah.
We are going to pay it online. Then Buddha, I don't think there would be an issue. I don't think, but again, not sure. But not sure, Buddha, what the management decision would be. But usually, Buddha,
Yeah.
they are
Right. So I thought there are some students planning to do the special, I mean, the overseas students. So
okay.
that's what's
Okay, Buddha. In that case, we maybe we can have small chat with the partners and the supervisors are ready to supervise you online. Then
right.
you are also going to do the research also on even on online basis.
Yeah.
I think that would be an issue, but again, Buddha, you have to clarify that from the tourism don't know what the final verdict.
Yes, I understand. We have sent one email through Pavani. I mean, by the students who are planning to continue the special degree. So I think they will facilitate that one. Just
Okay,
want
Buddha.
to know whether that we can do the research or not via online.
I don't think that there's an issue because there are students who are joining and in different other programs, but here, they are doing a perfect job. And in COVID period, 2020, research situation online. So,
Yeah.
that's not an issue. So, but I don't know what the decision they would be taking. So,
Yeah.
how many
As of now, sir, there are 6 students who are planning to overseas students.
I don't think there would be a barrier, but we'll see like what's the decision that will be taken.
Yeah.
Research also research independently you can discuss with the supervisor, connect with the supervisor and do it. So we'll wait for his reply and I think it could be fine.
Okay, sir. Right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Right. So that was one student who wanted just a clarification. Right. So now let me share the slide. Screen and the slide as well. So now I think you understood what's the correlation analysis and how to perform correlation analysis. How to interpret the result as well. So now I think I have to show you a fast case. Is it fast case? Again. Digital business strategy also. Yes. Just to get a fast case. Okay, let me show you a past paper and how quantitative things are tested.
So I think.
But
You can zoom it through your.
that's to make it more wide residential. And I will show you. Remote. While use the focus mode. They give a focus mode. Understood. But wait a second. Right. Now this will be probably your, it's a closed book exam, in fact. Not open book. Yes, closed book. Right, just to show you how the quantitative part is going to be tested. Now see in question number 2, here you can see a diagram has been given, which is known as what? A conceptual diagram. This is called a conceptual diagram. Now here you can see that there is an independent variable, or in fact independent variables, what it call it, and the dependent variable. Right? So what are the independent variables? Auditor's size, audit firm size, and auditor's independence. The dependent variable is earnings management. Right? You know that earnings management, companies manage earnings, right, fraudulently sometimes, to show a better picture. So that's how control variables here. Here are the control variables. Some additional variables are there. And then each variable, how it has been measured is also given. Earnings management and other things. You don't need to worry about that, please go ahead. Just go ahead. Then it gives descriptive statistics. For the first ones are the dependent variables on earnings management. Just think that these are just earnings management variables. And then after you are given the independent variables, the auditor's size, as well as the auditor's independence. Then after that, requisition analysis has been given, which I will teach you just after this. So the first question is this. Indicate 2 hypotheses that the researchers could have given. Can you tell me what are the 2 hypotheses that you can come up? While you get the conceptual diagram. What are the 2 hypotheses? There is a relationship between, one association between audit firm size and earnings management. Then a second hypothesis could be there is an association between auditor's independence and earnings management. So take whatever the variables the independent and then tell them there's a relationship. There's an association. Do you need to say positive or negative? No. You can say that there is an association between this variable and that variable. That's it. And if you want, you can even tell it control variables. Usually we don't write hypothesis for control variables. But even if you have done that, I will have given marks. Not a big deal. Right? Okay. So just take the independent variables and the dependent variable and write then there is an association. That's what we mean. Then the second question is, comment on the descriptive statistics of audit firm size and presence of audit committee variables. Now, let's first see, now if you get a question like this, first see how the audit firm size has been measured. So go to the operationalization table that says how audit firm size. Yeah. Audit firm size has been measured in this way. How? One, if the audit member is a big three, like that we have big three, we don't have big four. It's it. Zero if otherwise. If the particular company was audited by the big three, then you are given one. If it is not, it's zero. So that's how this variable has been measured. Audit firm size. Audit firm size is being measured like big three Lanka, Natta, big. If it is big three, it's one. It's not big. Now look at the descriptive statistic. Here it says audit firm size. AU size is the audit firm size. The mean value is 0.887. How can we interpret the result? How can we interpret the result? Yes, I'm getting an answer. Yes, how can we interpret? Okay, sorry.
It's close to one.
Okay, yes. Okay, very good. You are very close to the answer. Very close to the answer. What does this mean? Remember, one, you have quoted as one in this data set. You have taken several companies and indicated those companies are audited by whom? Big Four auditors or non Big Four auditors. If Big Four auditors, it is what one. If not, it's zero. So it means what here? You have done it. What it says is 88.7 companies in the data set are audited by whom? Big Four. It's audited by Big Four. So that's very good. On the other hand, you can see the minimum value is zero because it's a non-audit firm, non-Big Four firm, not a Big Four firm. Then one is a Big Four and the median is one. That means what? Median is one means what? Yes, the Big Four are dominating. Both the listed companies in Sri Lanka are audited by Big Four, dominated by the Big Three. Standard deviation is 0.3. Skewness and curve is yes, it's skewness is below 3, right? Below minus 3 or plus 3. But kurtosis, it's a high value. Kurtosis. Kurtosis is what? 3. So likewise you can, but even if you just explain, yes, it's 0.887. That means 88.7% of the companies in Sri Lanka in this sample are audited by Big Four. That's good. So that's how you interpret this descriptive statistics. Then also presence of an audit committee variable. Now the next variable that you have to interpret is presence of audit committee variable. Audit committee. Presence of an audit committee. So how do I measure that? One, if the company has an audit committee, zero is for others. In Sri Lanka, almost all companies have an audit committee. So if you go to descriptive statistics, you will see what? Audit committee presence. Okay. What's that? The mean is one, the minimum is one, the maximum is one. How can we interpret? In the sample, all companies are in one and not one. Because the mean is one, the median is one, everything is one, and there's no standard deviation. Why? So all I can question. over one line is standard deviation at that. So that's the interpretation. So this is related to what? Audit committee, persons and the auditors. Something like that. So you have 432 listed firms in this case. And in fact, it's a panel kind of a structure, don't worry about that. Right, then. So one way or I'll teach you after this. But let's see whether you can answer this question. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Look at the internet, look at everything, and try to answer this. Okay. Use these are the exam. You can use discuss. You can use discuss among yourself and tell me the answer. And if you can see this, you can maybe come more. Or maybe I'll put this fast paper into the film. So you can download and see that. I'll show you the password. So I put a new password. Okay, that's available now. The past papers, just about the SPSS case study. Get the past paper. So let me read that question for you. A researcher is attempting to examine the use of cryptocurrency among undergraduates of Sri Lanka University. He is faced an issue of not having a sampling frame. So you don't have a list of all undergraduate names. Do you have a list of all undergraduates in Sri Lanka? No, it's not there. He intends to use a self-administered structured questionnaire for this purpose and had been advised that the validity and reliability should be ensured of such a question. So we checked today, in fact, in the morning itself, to check how the validity and the reliability. Right? Question number 1. Explain what is the sampling frame in relation to the research study indicated above. What's the sampling frame? Check. Just check. Maybe you can use ChatGPT and just ask what's the sampling frame. So I did discuss those things during the class. So that's A. You can discuss among yourself, no problem. Let's question number 2. Discuss 3 appropriate sampling methods the researcher could use under the given circumstances. What are the sampling methods you could use? C. Recommend testing strategies that could be used to ensure construct validity and the reliability of self-administered structured questionnaire that the research in the above scenario intends to use. In fact, today I brought through the testing strategy at the beginning of this session. Okay, 3 questions. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Now the time is, let's say 2:25, 2:35. Please discuss. No problem. Today I know that keep question. Okay, need to end it. So I discuss some things. Okay. Shall we discuss? Okay. Explain what is the sampling frame in relation to the research study indicated above. So what's the sampling frame? On the first place? No. In general, what's the sampling frame? In general. What's the sampling frame? It's like the the list of all units in the population. The list of all units in the population. That's the general idea of sampling. Don't get deceived by the term sampling trend. Sampling trend can further. Population in a total listing. That's sampling. Some people think sampling trend is only the list of items in the sample. No, the list of items in the population. Apply this to the case. BSAA scenario you can apply. Apply this to the scenario. So in this case, what's the sampling frame? What is sampling frame? The list of all undergraduates in Sri Lanka who are using cryptocurrency. Right? Who are using cryptocurrency. Use of cryptocurrency. Expression is, can you have such kind of a list? Can you have such kind of a list? Then Lanka cryptocurrency user in Sri Lanka, the people who use cryptocurrency, can you get a list out of that? There is no list anywhere. So in that case, that's related to the second question. What's the second question? What are the three appropriate sampling methods? We'll ask. If you say random sample, can you do a random sample? Because to do a random sample, you need a sampling frame. Then only you can pick sampling frame, can get a list of all the population. Then you can pick random, but you don't have such a sampling frame. You understand? So what you can do is you can apply only what? Non-quantitative, non-probability, non-statistical sampling techniques. Like what? Exactly a student told the answer. What's that? Convenience sampling. Then what? Snowball sampling. Even quota sampling. You could use. But for this question, if you had written simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, then systematic sampling, or if you will say state cluster sampling, it's completely wrong. Some students wrote it and they thought they got entire 12 marks, they got 0 marks. Because you cannot apply random sampling methods. No sampling frame means no random sampling you would apply because you don't have that list of items. Did you get that? So therefore, that's why I practice these questions. Right. So 12 marks for that. 4 marks each into 3. So people who wrote random sampling techniques receive 0 marks. Right. Recommend testing strategies that could be used to ensure the construct validity. So how can you test the construct validity of questionnaire? Pilot testing. In the morning, not in the morning, in the beginning of the session, we did that. What did we use? Factors. Factors. Pilot testing could ensure the face validity. Construct validity would be ensured through factor analysis. Then also reliability. How can we check the reliability? Home method. You can apply home method. And you could say if the complex alpha value is above 0.7, that's good. So you get 20 marks. But is it difficult? So you have to think, you have to apply what we discussed. Right. So to discuss the next question, we need to discuss about regression. We'll do that now. Right. Let's test your knowledge again. In the absence of information amidst COVID-19, an accounting undergraduate is planning to conduct a survey to examine the factors that impact the recent high turnover of interns in the audit firms in Sri Lanka and has created a self-administered structured questionnaire to obtain views from the interns. The undergraduate indicates that he plans to follow the case study design for conducting this task. That's what he's planned. High turnover of interns. Audit firms are good at so he's trying to check. Evaluate whether you could consider the above. Evaluate whether you could consider the above undergraduate task as a research. Is this a research? You're a researcher? Yes or no? If yes, why? If no, why? You said no, no. Why not? But again, this is COVID-19 period, it's a new thing. And during that period, why there is high staff turnover? In that way, we can interpret as it's a new thing under the circumstance. Isn't it? But other than if you can argue, depending on the argument, if you can argue it's already done. During COVID-19, people have checked why high staff turnover among auditors, then it's a different story. It's how you argue. It can be argued in both ways. So I'll say the merit of argument and see how you argue. In case if you can argue, yes, that point could be taken. Then, so yes, under the circumstances, I would like to claim it as a research. COVID-19 was not there because this paper was given during COVID-19, not now. And at that time, it would have been a research, but now, not of course, because now COVID-19 is not there. So I think that's what you might have thought. But this question paper was given when COVID-19 was there. Okay. Discuss the 7-step process, research process that an undergraduate could follow in performing a research study. Did we discuss Kothari's 7-step process? Yes. What was number 1? What was the first step in Kothari's 7-step process? Number 1, defining the problem. I was saying, defining the problem is just starting. Define the problem. What's your problem? This step number 2. Literature review. That's step number 2. Do a literature review. Look at other studies, look at theories, look at models. Step number 3. Hypothesis. Develop the hypothesis. That's step number 3. This step number 4. Design the study. Design the study. See what's your population, see what's your sample, and see how you are going to collect data. Step number 5, collect data. Implement the design and collect data. Step number 6, once you collect data, are you going to wait for what? Analyze the data. Step number 7, interpret and report the results. So we discussed all 7. And now what you need to do is, you have to apply that summary state process to this scenario. So what's the problem of this scenario? What's the problem? High staff turnover. People are not staying in audit firm. Right. That's the problem. Then the literature, whatever the literature that's relevant to this area. Maybe you can see, you can take an even, but some theoretical background as well. As for an example, Maslow's hierarchy of need theory. The two-factor theory. Likewise, these theories also you could take into consideration which you studied in HR. Why people leave organization. Then a hypothesis. What's the hypothesis that you can create for this particular study? What's the hypothesis that you can create for this study? Yes, you can say the higher workload leads to higher turnover. This means the higher workload. Higher workloads leads to, so the higher degree of workload or the higher workload leads to higher staff turnover. Then you can say the lesser compensation, the lesser allowance you pay people, the higher turnover. The unsatisfactory working conditions leads to higher staff turnover. Likewise, you can have several hypotheses. That's step number 3. Then step number 4. You have to design your research. You have to tell what's your population. Your population is whom? Working in Srilanka audit firms. Then your sample, you are going to select, let's say, 100 audit trains. Based on what? Can we again apply random sampling? We have a list of all undergraduates who are undergoing internship in audit firms. No, we don't have. So there you can apply what? Convenience sampling, global sampling, photo sampling. Things like that you can. That's step number what? Step number 5. Step number 6, you can administer a questionnaire and get the data. Then analyze the data and finally interpret and report your findings. So likewise, you need to apply these things into a scenario. Now this question is very interesting. Let's see if anyone could have answered this. Critically evaluate the suitability of using the case study design if a self-administered questionnaire will be only the tool. Right? Be the only tool to collect data and provide recommendation if it is not suitable. In this case, can we use a case study? How many research designs did I discuss in this class? Only Prashna. Then, how many research designs? 5 research designs. What are the 5 research designs? Cross-sectional, first experimental research, experimental design, cross-sectional design, longitudinal design, case study design, and comparative case study design. 5 designs. Case study means what? You take one organization and go in depth. You don't use questionnaires there. You use interviews, documents, and of course you can use questionnaires, but maybe not. So in that case, what's the best method? Now they are using structured questionnaire to collect data. Then what's the best design? Cross-section design. You should not use case studies. So the suitability of case study design is not suitable. On the other hand, you can say, but conceptual design is what is recommended. Now expect these kind of questions at the exam. Please I discuss these things. They will expect correct. Expect these type of questions. Now let's come to regression analysis, right? Now we have discussed correlation analysis, and now let's come to regression analysis. In regression analysis, what we are trying to do is we are trying to predict a line, a straight line. So before we go for regression analysis, let me give some basics of linear regression. Those are again a development for the idea. Now, in regression analysis, what we are trying to do is, let's say for an example, this axis is what? What is this axis? X over X axis. This is what? Y axis. For an example, X is always what? The independent variable. Right? What's that? Should be the independent. Y is what? The dependent. Now, for an example, let's say, for an example, advertising expenditure. Independent variable. The dependent variable is what? Sale. So we are trying to predict this. Now we have to get a lot of data points. So several companies, maybe we can see what's the advertising expenditure and the sale. And then we are going to fit a line. And we are going to predict this line. Any line, the equation of any straight line could be written as what? Y equals alpha plus beta x. The equation of any straight line could be written like this. What's alpha? The intercept. That's the intercept. When x is 0, what's the y value? Now let's say for an example, income and consumption. What's the independent variable and what's the dependent variable? Income and consumption. What's the independent variable? Income. What's the dependent variable? Consumption. My question is, When income is zero, when X is zero, till days is there consumption? Yes. Poor people, they don't have income, they can live. So that's what it means. Alpha means what here? The intercept. When X is zero, what's the Y value? Then beta is what? The slope. Beta is the slope. So this is the normal thing. And what can I do is we are going to calculate alpha and beta. So we can predict, we know X, we can predict Y. We know alpha and beta, you know the income, we can predict the consumption. So we perform regression analysis for predictions. We perform regression analysis for predictions. What is the impact? Right. Now here, how many independent and dependent variables are there? How many independent and dependent variables are there? One independent variable, one dependent. So in that case, we call this bivariate regression. Yeah. Bivariate regression. Because there's two variables, bivariate. The intercept is the intercept. Is the intercept. In the slope. This is what we call a bivariate regression. Because we have one independent and one dependent. Right, bivariate again. Bicycle again. Two cycles. Both they got T. Right? What picture or what that's not what. This is called bivariate regression. Bivariate. Then now let's see a situation where there is a multivariate regression. Let's say a situation like this. Y equals plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2. Consumption might be depending on several factors, not only income, some other factors as well. So therefore, there can be several independent variables. Can have 10, 15 or 20 independent. So in this case, this is called, since you have more than two independent variables, two independent and dependent variables, this is called multiple regression. Multiple regression. For multiple regression. Because why? You have more than two variables. More than two. Now I don't, this is to predict something. Now it might be the income, it might be customer taste. That's going to what? Predict the demand. But can we predict something 100% accurate? Here is here 100% accurate predict numbers. You can't. So that's why always there is an error term. Is the error term. Right? It's a Greek letter that you pronounce what? Gold, the E letter pronounce gold. It's epsilon. Epsilon A. It's epsilon. Right? It's a Greek letter. That's how you pronounce it. Epsilon. So you are trying to predict now, but 100% you can predict it. So here what we try to do is we try to predict these things. This value, this value, this value. If you know these three values, then you can plug in x1 and x2 and predict one. So that's what you are doing. Right, that's enough now. Now let's see how to perform a regression analysis in SQL. Okay, again, let's take the example that we have taken here. Right. Now let me go back again to my screen over here. It was this is what I wanted to do. Now tell me how many independent variables are there and how many dependent variables are there. Now here, alpha is there, beta 1 OL, beta 2 FP, beta 3 EV, beta 4 CV, beta 5 EEV, and beta 6 SV, and the error system. How many independent variables are there? 6 independent variables. For the independent variable, purchase intention. So we are trying to predict the purchase intention of using how many variables? 6 independent. So that's what we show you. This is the conceptual term. Be independent and dependent. You are trying to do a prediction. Right. Simple as that. Is it difficult? So now let's see how to do a regression analysis. Can you see how to do a regression analysis? Very simple. You go to the cases dataset. You go to the cases dataset. And you go to analyze. You go to analyze. Go to regression. And you go to linear. Analyze, regression, linear. Analyze, regression, linear. Analyze, regression, linear. Click on that. Again, let me show you. Analyze, regression, linear. Okay. Analyze, regression, linear. Click on that. Then it asks what's the dependent variable. What's the dependent variable? Purchase intention. Go down here and you'll see that purchase intention is there. Here, purchase intention is there. Put purchase intention. Then you have the 6 independent variables. These are 6 independent variables. Linear division. Then functional value. emotional value, conditional value, epistemic value, then social value. So how many independent variables are there? In a relationship, functional value, emotional value, conditional value, epistemic value, and social value. Now press OK, that's it. You are getting several variables. Not all variables are important. Not all tables. You are getting several tables, not variables. You are getting several tables, but not all tables are important. Right? In the first table, you can see you can ignore the first table at all. Altogether, ignore the first table. Go to the second table. The second table, concentrate on this R squared value. What's the R squared value? Now take a small note for it. Squared value is, you can say R squared value, R to the power of 2. R squared value, R to the power of 2. R squared. R squared value indicates, R squared value indicates the degree of the explanatory power. The degree of 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 explanatory power of the dependent variable, of the independent variable, of the independent variables. The degree of explanatory power of the independent variables. Or the dependent variable. Or the dependent variable. Stop. And please write down. The higher the R squared value, the higher the R squared value, it is better. It is better. It is better. First, here, the R squared value is, 42.7%. Express that as a percentage. 42.7%. Here the R squared value is 42.7%. Which means the selected independent variables, the selected 6 independent variables, which means the selected 6 independent variables, the selected 6 independent variables, the selected 6 independent variables could explain 42.7%, 42.7% of the variation, of the variation of the purchase intention, related to the music category. related to the music app. Related to the music app. Related to the so 42 point. So that means what? These 6 factors could explain 42.7% of the variation of the purchase intention of the music app. Is it good? It's only 42.7. That means almost 58%. There are other factors that could explain the repeat. You understand? Therefore, we expect at least 70%. Right? It's only 42.7. Therefore, you can write down. On the other hand, approximately 58%. Approximately 58%. 58%. 58% of the purchase intention. 58% of the purchase intention of the music app. Of the music app is explained by other factors other than these selected six independent variables. Six independent variables. Right. So that means the degree of explained power is 49. So better if you can add this above 0.7. So these 6 variables together would explain the dependent variable, the purchase intention only by what? 42.7 is not it. So that's how you are interpreting the R square term. Then we shall go to the next table. And we'll discuss that after a small break, isn't it? But if break after is 3:30. So please come at 3:30. I was breaking in for 20 minutes and come back. Then I'm going to discuss the remainder, which is quite simple, and then I'm going to go back to the past paper and ask you to reply to those questions, which you will then understand how to reply for that nature of question. So at the exam, I don't think you will test difficult. But you might be a little bit worried to submit paper and no, really is. Don't worry. I like all of you to pass this subject.